But we are going to be talking about, are the Rams ready to take the next step? And pretty much like what I mean by the next step is like, obviously last year wasn't the year that they desired to have, and it did not end the way they wanted it to have, but they still accomplished a lot. And I think a lot of people miss that with a 9-finger Jared Goff. I mean, Jared Goff, even with 10 fingers, was kind of struggling just a bit. What's up, Jade Sports? Jared Goff was struggling just a bit, even without that broken finger. So that's something you got to keep in mind too. We did actually make it pretty far, and we accomplished a lot. What's up, Baseball 16? But we did a lot with what we had, and I was really wanting to see Wolford in that playoff game. Obviously, that was before the whole thing happened where we got Stafford, we traded Goff. I wanted to see Wolford, but we know what happened. He got injured, everything like that. But it's just crazy. We did kind of accomplish a lot last year, and I want to put that in perspective for a lot of people who don't really realize that, because it's pretty crazy to see what we accomplished with Jared Goff, with a 9-figure Jared Goff. And a lot of people think that the score in the Green Bay game was, I don't know how to say it, like it wasn't very a good score, and the Packers were kind of like blowing us out. It was a very deceptive score, I guess is the best way to say it. But really, we were close, and there was that drive where we had a chance. The defense got the stop, and Goff couldn't put it together. He got sacked, and we just couldn't put it together because that was just kind of the way it was with Goff. It was kind of hard to rely on him in those late game situations last year, and with Stafford, that's going to change a lot. So I'm going to read into these comments here, and thank you all for stopping in. Drop a comment. Do the Rams not have a first-round draft pick? Yeah, I don't know if you're being, like, if you're joking or if you know or not. We haven't had a first-round draft pick since Jared Goff. So it's been quite some time, and I feel like the next time we have a first-round draft pick, I'll be like 50. So yeah, that's thought on Aaron Donald not fighting. I'm happy with it, honestly. I love Aaron Donald. Something about that report was just kind of crazy to me. Like, it just didn't seem real with the type of personality that Donald had. Yeah, he's strong. Yeah, it's in Pittsburgh. Yeah, it's past that time. You're all good, J Sports, but I think that it is exactly what I expected. I wanted to see the full report because there were contradicting reports. Yeah, he broke up the fight. That's right. But just talking about this Rams team, I want to know first, who's your favorite Rams player, J Sports? It's very hard to narrow down. I love Ramsey, and I obviously love Donald. He's just amazing. But I may say Robert Woods. My profile picture is Robert Woods. I just feel like he's kind of underrated. But it's very hard to tell because when you have like 2 Hall of Famer talents on defense too, it's very hard to narrow it down. Akers is good. It's very hard to narrow down as yours, Khalil Mack, because I know you're a Bears fan. But yeah, I want to know your record predictions in the comments right now, guys, for where the Rams are going to be. Obviously, you got to take into account that there's going to be 17 games this season. But hey, we got full stadiums, you know. I want to know your thoughts on that. And I think that for me, since again we have 17 games, I would put this team in a 13-4 or 14-3 season, because when we have the talent on offense, we already had a ton of the talent on offense for as far as the Rams go last year. It was kind of Jared Goff our weak spot, and I don't want to knock on him too much, but you know, it was that type of thing where I felt like we had a ton of talent, and I feel like it was kind of wasted. We wasted a year with that amazing defense. We wasted a year with that offense. And again, we didn't really lose that many players. By Jade Sports, we didn't lose that many players on the offensive side, but they have another year of experience, and that just kind of lost, I guess, another year of them being in their prime. So that was kind of wasted just a bit. But by Christian, I think that there's that year was wasted just a bit, but we have the chemistry, we have a good enough team, and now with adding Stafford, I think that's going to just make it a whole lot better. Like, I've already made offensive videos about what Stafford brings, what this offense is going to look like, top 10. I say it's top 5 to top 3. It could even be number 1. I mean, honestly, that's what I think. But when you have Woods, and we talked about Woods and Cup last video, but with Woods and Cup, they bring such a great amount of skill traits, like their route running, they have great catching. Woods is very versatile. And what's up, Julian? They bring so much to this offense. And now with adding Deshaun Jackson, obviously he brings that speed. And for Stafford's deep balls, that's going to be great to have that speed. What's up, Mario? And I think that that's just going to add a lot of value to this offense. And now looking on the defensive side, because this is talking about it's the next step, not just the offense. The defense, we did lose some key players. John Johnson, key player. Troy Hill, I feel like he's a key player for sure. I don't want to slack him too much, but I feel like he's not as big of a loss, and I think a lot of people would agree with me. What's up? And I feel like that wasn't too big of a loss. We lost some of the edge rushers like Ebukam. We lost who's that? Michael Brockers. Yeah, we lost Michael Brockers, and there's just a lot of things that we lost, and I feel like people may be overreacting a little bit. I feel like Raheem Morris is going to do huge things with this defense because McVay decided not to choose the guy who's been there much longer to be the defensive coordinator. He's already been in the conversation a couple times already, and when he's been picked over, that's why he went to the Lions. And so when that happens, I feel like you got to think that McVay is confident in Raheem Morris. McVay knows he can do more with the offense and trust Morris a lot more, and not have to keep checking in like he was doing that with Staley. But, let's see. Brody Friday says, "You're the best YouTuber. You should have more than 3 million subs." I appreciate it, man. That really means a lot to me. I just want to get this Rams content out to you guys. But yeah, when you have McVay who chooses him over a guy who's been there much longer, I think that just speaks volumes to what this defense is going to be. I feel like we will target some defensive spots in the draft. We could target linebacker. I mean, I've seen that a lot. And yeah, Brian Rapp is coming back. He's still under contract. But we still have a lot of talent here. And you got to know that when you have Donald and Ramsey on one team, plus D. Will, he's such a stud talent. When you have them both on the team, that's just going to boost the defense like without anything else. It's going to help that defense improve, not only with just their skills, but also with their veteran presence. Like, that's just going to do a lot to the team. And then when you have Raheem Morris, who just is such a great deal. Like, a lot of people compare to what he did in Atlanta, and I think that's not fair because that's a head coaching job, different team, completely different talent, a bunch of other things. This is a different role, so I don't think you can't compare those two together. But I think that brings it a lot together. I do not think that the Rams will have a number one defense this year like they did in the year past, because you even if you are a Rams fan and want to say as much as you can that they'll be number one, something inside you has to say and think realistically with some of the pieces we lost, and it's not easy to be a number one defense. It truly isn't easy to do that. So you got to think that through, and that's what I'm thinking. So I think we could be top 5 still. I still think we could be top 10. I made a video on that too. I'm thinking around the range from 5 to 7 is where we'll rank, and that's not horrible by any means. Yes, it is a drop back, not a drop off, but hey, it's hard to go number one 2 years in a row. So that's where I think we stand with that, and I think it just depends on how much we drop on the offense. Wait 1 second, guys. I have to read Baseball 16s. I don't like seeing Jared Goff go because I watched him a little in college, and I can't see the comment. It just disappeared on me. Sorry about that, Baseball 16. But yeah, I don't think losing Goff is a huge thing, and I think the thing that will put us over the top this year and help us take that next step will be the offense, because that was really what was missing. And I think that, honestly, that's just something that you got to look at, and I'm just going to hide. All right, sorry about that, but I think that that's something that you have to consider. It's just, you have such a great team. You add Stafford, who's an elite talent, to an offense who already has a ton of talent. That's already going to upgrade it. A lot of people, when I made a video before the trade happened, a lot of people did not want Stafford, and I have to admit myself, I knew Stafford was good, but I did not know he was this good. I I knew that Stafford brought a lot of things to the talent, but let's just say that he was on the Lions and I didn't really pay attention to him that much. And I think that's what we all can admit. And I think that that's just something that you have to keep in mind. If you have not seen the if you haven't seen any film breakdown on Matthew Stafford or any highlights on him, I want you guys to go and check him out. Because if you haven't done that already, I really want you to, because he brings more to this offense than just his arm. He brings accuracy, he brings that obviously sideline throws, and he brings he just brings a lot to this table. He's not a mobile guy, but he can move around in the pocket when he needs to. That's very good. I feel like when Jared Goff did that, he was a little, let's just say awkward a little bit. It just didn't seem natural to him. Stafford can do that. There's a play that comes to mind when they were playing the Falcons. He rolled outside the pocket, look, and fire. He throws it quick. He throws it hard. I think all the receivers can have a testament to that, and they can agree to that. So he does so much to this team. And I want you guys, I don't know if you watched Jake Ellenbogen, but he made a film breakdown on that, on Matthew Stafford. He has a YouTube channel. You can go check him out. I think that was a very accurate breakdown, but Stafford does so many things that helps this offense, and we already had a lot of talent. And I'm going to answer Adrian's question real quick. How many yards do you think Cam Akers is going to get? I think that he is going to get, I can't remember off the top of my head how many yards he had this season, but he wasn't the start of the full year and he was injured at the start of it. So it's kind of hard to reference that, but I think depending on how pass heavy we are, because we know with McVay, he's kind of like a pass heavy. If it's working there, he's going to go there a lot. He's not going to like balance it out. But I think that Akers could definitely have like over 1,200, 1,100 yards, around that range. Because again, the Rams are not that team to be known as a running team. Like they aren't like the Titans with Derrick Henry. They aren't like the Browns. They aren't like a lot of those teams, or not really a lot of those teams because the NFL's evolving now. But they aren't like some of those teams who are run heavy. And I like that. I like that prediction, Robert. 1,250. But the Rams don't like to run the football a ton. They put it into their game plan where it'll help with the play action feeding off of that. They like to do that, and if that means that if the passing game's off, they're going to try to run it and keep doing that system. But overall, I don't know. I think that's around the range for Cam Akers to get, and Cam Akers is a very, very talented back. I was so happy we drafted him. I was a little surprised because we had Henderson, but I was very happy when I saw we drafted him, and because I already knew who he was. I liked the way he carried the football and everything. We used to run a lot, like in 2017 with Todd Gurley. And yeah, I agree with Baseball 16, but you also have to take into consideration Gurley was, at the time before all those injuries and his arthritis kicked in, he was a generational back. And that was when McVay was starting out his first year in 2017. And he used Todd Gurley, and that helped because that was also why our offense was top 10 and it was even number 1 in scoring. And I just think that when you have a running back like that, you have to give him the ball more. And that's where the offense really started to evolve. And yes, I do think Cam Akers will be a superstar. Yeah, Todd Gurley was too much money, but we're past that, guys. Let's talk about some positive things. And the Rams, we're past him. Let's just stay away from that. No, I still like Todd Gurley a lot. I don't like some of the things he said, but do you think that the Rams are going to win or going to the Super Bowl for sure? If you're talking about this year, it's hard to lock in something because you have to think about all these other teams. And we have not seen the draft. We haven't seen workouts. We haven't seen like all the roster breakdown yet. It's kind of hard to predict that. I have them for sure going to the championship game, and it just really depends on who they're playing and what their offense is like, how they're playing, how that whole system video is about taking the next step. I think that a lot knowing this team, and they're going to take a huge step forward, I think. Yeah, preseason will help Stafford out a lot, like get a feel for the system. By the way, did any of you guys who are here, I know there's only like 11 or so, did any of you go to SoFi this weekend to see it? Because I saw there was like that season ticket holders who had it. I think it's going to be, yeah, the Bucks. The Bucks It's weird. All year last year, they were kind of like a. Oh, you did go to the Adrian. Um, that's crazy. What do you think of it, Adrian? Just want to say, yeah, Rams versus Bucks NFC Championship game. No, I live in Iowa. Don't worry, baseball 16. I live in Colorado. I've never gone to a Rams game, like gone there, but I watch every single one. I want to go sometime, but going to SoFi, like, I did this thing. I was watching a video that somebody posted on YouTube. I just blocked out like my phone marks like that, and I was just looking, and then that gave me a perspective of what it would be like to be there. And I was like, "Jeez, this thing is crazy. It's huge." Like I knew it was, but when I did like this, I don't know if you know what I'm saying, but I covered up the areas of the phones where it's the margins, and I looked as if like I was in there, and I was like, that is so much bigger than I thought, because you get used to seeing it on TV, but hey, that's gonna be where the Super Bowl takes place. So if we can host a game, I'm all for it. Um, yeah. Oh, you're saving up for the NFC Championship game. That's a smart plan. But it's really gonna be interesting to see. Bucks were really underrated, and people disrespected them when they were 11-5, and clearly were the best team in the NFL. Yeah, I feel like last year, and this is what I was actually going into just a bit ago. Last year, they all the way up until like the end of the season, something seemed off about them. Like their chemistry was off, and there was something weird to me. I was like, this is not a Super Bowl team. This is not a playoff team. I was one of those doubters, and near the end of the season, especially when it got into the postseason, I was like, oh geez, this team's a threat. Like they seem to get it together at the right time, and that's gonna help a lot. Rams have six Hall of Famers, which is a lot. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Whitworth, Stafford, Deshaun Jackson, Johnny Hackett, and Wolford. I think that was all I saw. The comment is weird. I'm doing it on my phone this time instead of the computer because it's a better camera. What's up, keys? And it brings up the comment and then it fades away. So you have to read it quick. Um, let's see. Do you think we are going to win versus the Ravens? I mean, again, it's really hard to predict. We don't know who's been drafted. We don't know a lot of other things. We have to see what the offense is like, what the team's like, where it's headed, because it's hard to predict when you haven't even seen a single snap with this new type of team. But I feel like we definitely have a huge shot at beating them this time compared to last time. Last time when we played them on that Monday night and we got blown out, I was like, okay, I'm kind of expecting a blowout. Like the Ravens were hot. Do you think Deshaun Jackson is going to stay healthy? I don't think the full year, and I don't want to I don't want to bring your hopes down, but I feel like he's not going to be a guy like other teams have utilized him, where he's in almost every down. The Rams are going to insert him in different spots to utilize different coverages, different defenses, and they're going to use him in some playbooks, some formations. He's not going to be there every down, because you have to also think Van Jefferson is there too, and you have to help him grow too. Van Jefferson, he's such a superstar. I want to see more of him this year, and McVay does not play rookies much their rookie season, so that's something to keep in mind. He did not play much last season, and some people think he's a bust, but I think that's just unfair to him. And I just think that you got to give him a fair chance, put him in enough, and I think that's what McVay does the most with rookies. They put him in he puts them in the second year. It's not the rookie year. And Adrian, I'm not from LA. I'm actually from St. Louis. I was born in St. Louis. I'm not here. I'm not in St. Louis now. I'm in Colorado. But I'm a loyal fan. I just stay wherever they go. Do you think this is Stafford's last year? No way. I don't think that this is Stafford's last year. If you look at, I know this is a completely different quarterback. This gets tossed around a lot. Look at Tom Brady, where he is. Even look at where Drew Brees is. He retired now, but he got into his 40s. Aaron Rodgers is still playing. Is he 38 or 39? I can't remember, but my main point is quarterbacks can last a long time now. Philip Rivers played for a while too. I don't think this is Stafford's last year by any means, especially if he has a ton of success, which I think is going to happen. He'll be in MVP conversations, I think. But that's something that you have to think about. I just compare him to all the other quarterbacks, where as long as the quarterbacks are successful and they keep up consistent numbers, that's how they stay in the league. If you're going to be doing bad, I don't know. It's not going to be, you're not going to stay in there. Yeah, baseball 16. Alex Smith did retire. What about Blake Bortles? I don't think he'd retired. I think he's in free agency or something like that. I don't know. He keeps coming in and off our team. But yeah, those were a lot of things that you have to consider. I don't think by any means this is Stafford's last season, so don't worry. And the Rams have talked about and kind of hinted at in their press conferences that they want to keep him around longer. So I don't think they would just say that if they are thinking he's going to retire. So no way. I don't think so. But this team, I honestly do think it's going to take, I think it's going to take a big leap. And I don't think the defense is going to be nearly as bad as everybody's making it sound. I know not a lot of you who are in here right now have talked bad about it, but I've seen some of those things, and I'm like, guys, didn't you learn from last season with Corey Littleton leaving and some key pieces, Dante Fowler leaving? Everybody was saying the same things, and look, we turned out fine. We were the number one defense. I know a lot has to do with the coaching, but still, take that into consideration. Who do you think the Rams will pick from the draft? Keys. I don't usually. It's not like I'm trying to keep it a secret from anybody. I don't usually say that because I'm honestly like, to be honest, I don't look at prospects too much. I don't study who they could go. I don't do mock drafts, anything like that. So I can't really give you like a fake answer either. I can say as far as the positions, I feel like we could go offensive line. I definitely think we could go middle linebacker or outside linebacker. That could definitely be an option for us. And we could go cornerback just for depth, like if we go late in the round, because we do pick good late in the round. Because right now, I believe the only cornerbacks we have is Darius Williams, Jalen Ramsey, and David Long. And we need some more depth there. So those are the positions. Now, we do not need a QB. Guys, I want you to let me know, because I feel like I'm the only one who thinks this. If Stafford got injured, I wouldn't be happy, but I would love to see Wolford play. Like, I love Wolford a lot. He puts in so much work even when he's not a starter. And some of these videos he's been posting in the offseason encourage me so much, but also think like, ugh. I don't know if Goff, after he got his contract, did he really work that hard? Like, Wolford, even if he's a third string QB or a backup QB, he still puts in so much work every offseason, and I was liking what I was seeing in that one game, and then like half a quarter we got to see him in that divisional round. No, was that the? I don't think that was the wild card. It might have, yeah, wild card round. But yeah, I don't know if I'm the only one who likes Wolford a lot, but I think that if Stafford, for some reason, I know this is not going to happen. If Stafford just retires for some reason, I'd be like, Wolford, let's do it. I don't know, that's just something about me. I like Wolford. How much years does Matthew Stafford play for the Rams? I forgot his contract. He's for sure playing this year. He may be locked into one more year after that, but the Rams, whatever the case is, the Rams that they want to re-sign him to, and they've hinted at that. Yeah, Matt Gay did do really good, but I want to know in the comments, guys, do you think the Rams will take a step forward and take that next step? Because I do think that that's going to happen, and I don't think, no offense to the offense last year or Goff last year or McVay or whatever, but I think it's not going to be hard to top what they did last year. And again, I have so much respect for what Goff did for us. We have to give him a round of applause for what he did. Like, I don't want to be coming across to any of you guys like I hate Goff or anything like that, but when you look at the numbers and everything, there was a drop-off with him, and there were a lot of reasons. Matthew Cardenas, I don't know how to pronounce that last name, sorry about that. He said, what happened with Darrell Henderson? He is the backup running back, because Malcolm Brown did leave, but I think that, I can't remember, I think it was an injury, or, yeah, he got injured. I don't know if you guys remember, Henderson, when we were playing the Seahawks for the first time, he got, I think, tripped up by Jamal Adams, and then he got injured, like, right before the end zone, and I'm pretty sure, again, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure he was out for the rest of the year, and then Cam Akers just signed, and then Cam Akers eventually became, like, that 3 down back. And so that's pretty much what happened with Henderson. I love him as a backup too, but I really like Cam Akers and what he brings to this team. What do you think that the new uniforms will be, guys? Because I did a community post about this. A lot of people say black and yellow. As much as I would love to see that, I doubt the Rams are going that direction. I still think all yellow with the blue numbers and like blue stripes. I think that would be awesome. Kind of like their color rush, but like their soul this time. And then they're blue like that on the blue bone, blue bone. But what do you guys think will be that? Because I was surprised when I saw a lot of people voted the black and yellow or black and blue, because I wasn't saying which one's your favorite, because I mean, obviously black looks good on the Rams, but I can't see the organization taking that step. Thank you, Julian. Blue stripes with gray numbers. That'd be kind of interesting. I feel like we should be seeing, you mean also black uniforms with blue numbers and yellow numbers inside the numbers. Yeah, kind of along that line. But I do think, guys, gotta be ready, because I feel like the uniforms are coming out soon. I'm definitely gonna post a video on that as soon as I can, whenever they come out. Because I love whenever there's a new uniform release, whatever team. But we saw the Bengals. I don't know if you guys know. Yesterday the Bengals revealed their new uniforms, and we were the last team to reveal the new uniforms last year. And it was around May time, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was May. We tend to do it later, but it should be coming up soon, like within a month, I think. So there's no date set, but just be ready for that, because I'm going to make a video. Thank you, Julian. Yeah, hit that like button. Pushes out to more people. I had so many troubles with this live stream earlier. It just kept on like glitching and stuff, so I had to come on a little bit late and kept deleting posts, but we're here now, so that's the good thing. I want to know in the comments too, what are your favorite players on the Rams team? Like, if you could pick one on the whole team, I feel like I know it's going to be. But pick one player, put it in the comments, and we'll see if I agree with you. Do you like the Bengals' new uniform? I think it's... At first, I didn't notice too much of a difference from their old one, but that's because I'm not a Rams fan, so I didn't notice that much. But after I looked at it again, and my brother's a Bengals fan, I looked at it again, I was like, oh, geez, that's actually cool. I liked their white one a lot, and the black one was cool, so yeah, I like that. But hopefully our alternate jerseys come soon. But yeah, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I think that... Oh, you like Cam Akers, Julian? I think this team's going to take a huge step forward. Again, I'm locking in a championship round at least, but you never know. And yeah, you like Robert Woods too? I like Adrian, I like Robert Woods too. But yeah, I feel like sometimes it takes a little while for just a team and a quarterback to fit, like after trading, especially for Stafford, being in Detroit for so long. But I think you have to keep this in mind and take it into consideration, everybody. Matthew Stafford did so much, and he adjusted so much in the Lions system, and he had so much change from year to year from coaches and stuff like that. So I think he's going to be fine, and I think we are going to take a huge jump. You said, do you miss Josh Reynolds? Because I do. We haven't really seen... we haven't seen him off the Rams yet. I personally don't miss him, and I don't think I really will miss Josh Reynolds, because to me, he didn't bring too much. We may have been using him in the wrong way, so I don't know. But I don't feel like he was doing too much with us, and I felt like he was holding back Van Jefferson more, and he was drafted to be kind of that deep threat, go up and get it guy by the Rams, but he rarely had that. I remember one play against the 49ers. It was actually the game where we lost the first time, but he threw it up and Reynolds just went up and got it. But that was a crazy game. Let's see. Van Jefferson is going to blow up with Stafford. Yeah, I think he will too, and I think that he has a big chance. Everybody has a big chance to get 1,000 yards. Do you watch basketball or baseball? So I don't really watch basketball too much. I like the Clippers a lot, but I watch the highlights and stuff like that, but I definitely don't really watch baseball. But yeah, I don't really miss Josh Reynolds too much because again, I didn't feel like he did too much for the Rams offense. It could have been again us holding him back, the scheme holding him back, whatever, Goff holding him back. But I don't miss him too much. I will miss John Johnson though. How about hockey? No, I don't. Something about hockey and like hockey and baseball, I just don't really watch. It's not like I'm against it, but it's not something that I'm like, hey, I want to watch something. Let's turn on hockey. I'll watch it, but do you think Cam Akers is gonna have a breakout year? For sure, definitely. Because now with Stafford, teams before when Goff was in his prime with us, they would have to be scared about Gurley and Goff. And yes, Cam Akers is not Gurley. I get that. I know that that's a big comparison from when Gurley was in his prime. But I do think with Stafford, now you got to think, all right, now offenses or defenses, has to be concerned about Matthew Stafford because of what he can do. And now McVay does not have to be worried about simplifying the playbook, making it more dump offs. Because how many screens did we see last year? I feel like we saw so many screens, and that was because we had to adjust to Goff. But now offenses have to be worried about, or defenses have to be worried about both of what we do, which is the running game, because Cam Akers is, I believe, is going to break out. I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like Cam Akers is going to break out. And then you have to worry about Stafford and this offense because now McVay is going to be back to more of an aggressive play style. He did allude to putting in more plays that we haven't seen, that other teams have had, that Stafford will excel in, and I think you have to look at that too. Now McVay can build around a guy, well, not build around a guy, but he can build his playbook more around the guy who he picked. So that's gonna be just a crazy thing to watch too. But then I think that another thing that you got to do and look at is that with the offense that we do have, and with McVay being able to draw up the schemes he wants, pick out a guy he likes, like I mentioned, you have a great receiving core: Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Van Jefferson, Deshaun Jackson. That's a strong receiving core, plus great tight ends. Higbee did have some injuries last year, and we lost Everett, but I think Higbee is going to have a better year this year too. I think the whole offense improves on this because it's a thing where the quarterback having an upgrade there just helps everybody else, and getting another year under some of the rookies will help even more. Do you think the Rams will get the number 1 seed? And if not, where do you think they'll be? That's a good question, actually. A really good question. I think that we're definitely in the conversation because you can look at the best teams in the NFC. I take the Saints out now because they lost Drew Brees. You know, you have Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston fighting for that spot. But pretty much add any more NFC teams that I may miss, because I may miss an obvious one. We have the Bucks, we have the Packers, we have the Rams. Is there any other like big NFC team that could be a threat? None's coming to mind as some of the bigger NFC teams. And again, you got the 49ers. They're going to be a threat, I feel like, if they pick the right quarterback, because the 49ers, we have to be honest, have a very well-rounded roster, great coaching staff. I was really happy when they lost Robert Saleh. That may sound bad to some of you guys, but I was so happy when they lost him because he's just such a great coach. You have to admit it. The Seahawks always going to be in there. The Cardinals are one of those teams where I feel like with Cliff Kingsbury, he could be on the hot seat because he has such a good roster, and we've seen little improvement, and they were on a decline last year, like near the other half of the season when they started out so good. So I wouldn't put them in there. But I think we have a serious shot at number 1. If we don't get that, I'd say 2 or 3. Like 2 or 3 is going to be the worst we get. I think we have I think we have a really good chance at that. But yeah, what do you think? Are we gonna get the number 1 seed? Do you think AJ Green and Jalen Ramsey will fight versus each other? No, I don't think so. I feel like they're both in different parts of their career now, that they aren't in, they aren't in that stage anymore. And I feel like Ramsey before, he was more of he still talks trash, but he was still of a big mouth, and he was a lot more immature with the press, a lot more immature in just a lot of facets, but he's really matured a lot with the Rams, a lot. And I can't see that happening, especially because now it could be more serious with how top tier he is. And I don't see that happening anymore. And I still feel like DeAndre Hopkins is going to be the number one threat for the Cardinals in the receiving department because AJ Green is not where he was earlier in his career. Who do you think is the worst NFC West team in this brutal division? The worst team, I'd probably say, just based on records and on a lot of other things, I think it's going to be the Cardinals. I already alluded to their coaching staff, everything like that. I feel like they have to make coaching improvements this year, or I feel like Kingsbury is going to be out of there. I truly and full-heartedly believe he's on the hot seat this year. And the Niners, they get to pick their own guy. I believe they'll get Trey Lance. They could get Justin Fields, but Trey Lance fits them really well, I think. I wanted him when that whole Goff stuff was going on, but we would have to trade up. I don't think that the Seahawks are going to be the worst team there, but the 49ers and the Rams are going to be the top two. I think Seahawks could fight to that second spot. I don't know, but I think that the Rams are still going to be the top, and the Cardinals are going to be on the bottom just because of what I mentioned about the coaching staff. They have so much talent. Now they added Jalen, that's going to be crazy to have to play him. And Cardinals fans may give me some backlash on it, but I think it's just that coaching staff. Because if they had Kyle Shanahan on that team, I think that's just going to help them a lot if they were able to have him. But they need to find that coach, or they need to find that system that works really well this year. They need to have a lot more success than past years. Otherwise, Kingsbury's out of there. So great question there. Rams record is going to be 14-3. That's just right around the range that I put in there. So I agree with you, Adrian. I have a question for you guys. Who do you think is going to be the worst NFC team, like whole NFC? Who do you think is going to be the worst team out of that? Because let's see, you could put the Giants in there. You could put, let's see. I don't think the Eagles are going to be in there. You think the Browns are in the... Yeah, the Browns are looking threatening with the additions that they've made. Yeah, Giants baseball is 16. I agree with you. Giants could be that team. Trying to think of just other NFC teams. I feel like the Bears, they could probably be one of the worst because the Bears just don't address their issues very well. And Andy Dalton, you go after Andy Dalton, I don't know. I totally agree with you about the Bears. But yeah, I think we have a legitimate shot. We're going to take a step forward, locked in championship game, and it just really depends on who we're playing, where their defense is at, and offense. Do you think Deshaun Jackson is going to stay healthy? I think that, I already said this earlier, it's just about the usage. The usage of Deshaun Jackson is going to be so much different than earlier in the career, because other teams who were desperate for receivers had him as the number one guy and used him a lot, and the quarterback had to rely on him a lot because there was just a drop-off. You look at, he was at the Bucks before before the receiving core was really stacked, and then he was on the, I'm going to call him Redskins because the football team, he was on their team, and then, was there another team? The Eagles. So they never really had a stacked receiving core, and they'd use him a whole lot differently than what we're going to use, or what I believe we're going to use him in. So I think that with Van Jefferson, he's going to take more of those snaps. It could be 50-50, whatever, but his injury chances are going to be a whole lot lower. His injury chances are going to drop a lot lower because the usage, you have to think, let's just say, I'm trying to think of a scenario, let's just say you're doing things that are risky, and if you are going into more of a risky situation more and more times, there's a bigger chance that that won't pay off for you. And that's kind of what it's like with Deshaun Jackson. You got to give me some credit for this one. If you're giving yourself more chances to be injured, you're most likely going to be injured. But if you're taking those away more and using them differently, and it's a different team, different scheme, and we've already learned a lot about where the injuries come from, you're gonna not have as many because first of all your usage is down, but it's not in a bad way. It's not like you've regressed, but it's just used differently. So I think that's a good point there. Now that the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl, who do you think will win the AFC? The Chiefs are still in there, honestly. Just because they have lost the Super Bowl doesn't mean that they're going to be good the next year. There's such thing as Super Bowl hangover, but the Chiefs have so many good players. I feel like the Bills and the Browns are some real threats. More so the Browns. If their offense continues to get better, I think that the Browns could present more of a problem for the Chiefs because you have to look back. They almost beat the Chiefs. Like, they were very close, and we know that controversial call that happened in that game, but they were close to beating them, and now their roster is a whole lot better. I'm not a Browns fan, but they got John Johnson, they got Troy Hill, they got Jadeveon Clowney. I believe they added some other pieces, but they are looking on the rise. I don't think Aaron Donald was going to get injured, honestly. I was sad when he got injured in that divisional game, though, and then... Why do I keep saying the divisional game? In the wild card game. The divisional game, you could see it on his face. He was frustrated not to be contributing. But... yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap up this live stream, guys. Thank you so much. Again, please hit that like button. We're at 19 right now. Please get us to 20. Come on. No, I'm just kidding. But if you want to hit that like button, feel free to, because it helps out this channel. Recommend this channel to other people who like Rams content, because that is what I do all the time on this channel, as you guys know, because you guys are the best. Like, thank you for always tuning in. And, oh, Adrian, you got one more question? I'll take one more question. But yeah, that's gonna be, you're the best YouTuber in the world. Thank you so much, Isaac. I really appreciate it. Adrian, sorry, I just said that I would answer your question, but for some like privacy reasons and stuff like that, I don't like to just say my age out onto YouTube. It's just something that I like to practice. So I would be willing to answer your question. How about you? Better than Mr. Beast. How about you guys all just have a great day? Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to stay tuned, subscribe. Thank you for getting us to 20 likes. And no, you're all good, Adrian. I appreciate the questions. I hope you guys have a great day. God bless. I hope that you guys just have a very blessed day. I'll be praying for everybody. And as always, Rams House, God bless. Peace out.